I'm getting more attention than I used to. And it's also this weird thing in my head of like, yes, I like getting the attention, but also I didn't get it before. And how do I manage that? Like, how do I handle getting the attention that I never did before?
Yeah, so that's another thing that I often hear people say, and it's pretty unfortunate, right? If we think about it, that you didn't get attention before, and now you are, in terms of like how society views individuals, right?
Yeah.
So it can be very challenging to kind of come to terms to that and with that situation. So first, I want you to kind of turn inward and think about what this means for you. And you are the same person and different, right? It is still you. You are still Noelle, sunshine and all. But maybe, that you are feeling different and you are putting different energy out there, right? So sometimes when we're not in such a great mood, people see that, right? And we kind of attract different attention. So I think it's important to also remind ourselves of that. And also, at the end of the day, we need to just worry about ourselves, right? So, and I think it depends on each individual, what you want to say when people give you compliments or give you that added attention. Maybe don't say anything. For some people, maybe you say thank you, you move on. But you need to think about what makes you feel good and remind yourself that you are still Noelle.
Yeah.
And on a healthy journey. And I like to use the word and instead of but in these situations because it's not a but. Right? You are still Noelle and you're in a different stage of your life. You're on a different journey. But what you are describing is so common. And people experience that all the time because unfortunately, society is viewing individuals based off of their appearance because that's all we know. Right?
Yeah.
But we don't know what anybody is struggling with just by looking at them. So I think being kind to yourself, being kind to others, and then kind of letting that, kind of have a ripple effect.
Yeah. I think what's really hard is how people use the and. They say, oh, you look great and you lost weight. And somehow it's tying, I look great because I lost weight.
Right.
And somehow it always goes back to, oh, I didn't look good before. Right. And I only look good now because I lost weight. And I think growing up and having the constant, you lose 10 pounds, you lose 15 pounds, and you get rewarded. You get rewarded by people saying, you look amazing, you look wonderful. And then you gain it back and they don't say it anymore. And I think it's so hard to balance feeling good about my body, feeling proud of what I've accomplished. Yeah. And I'm getting all the people saying how good I've looked. I've lost 60 pounds and how amazing it is. And I am proud of that. But I don't know how to handle people saying, you look amazing because you've lost weight.
Right. So it's a tough one because, again, our society has been given these messages for years, right? We all have been hearing these messages, right? Thin equals beauty, or eat less, move more, right? These are messages that we've been hearing for years that we then internalize and they impact us and influence us. And now we know differently, but not everybody else, not everybody knows that, right? And I find that it's really helpful sometimes, depending on who it is, to actually tell them, it really hurts my feelings when you say that, right? Like, yes, thank you. I feel great, but my body is not a topic of conversation, right? Again, depending on who you're talking to, if you feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
But I think the more that we can remind people of that. So for instance, my friends know that I will never comment on somebody's body shape and size. Like it doesn't matter. They just know that. I might say you look radiant or you look happy or you look strong.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to comment on somebody's weight because we don't know what anybody's going through. And for some people, when we comment on weight or somebody's lost weight, it could actually be reinforcing a negative, harmful behavior, right? So that's something else that I think is important to remember.
Yeah.
As you're going through this, be comfortable saying whatever you want to say and share. But what I want you to do is say different things to yourself. So when somebody says, you look beautiful because you've lost so much weight, if you don't want to say it out loud, say to yourself, I've always been beautiful. Or it's not because I've lost weight, it's because I've taken control of my health, right? So reframe it in your head, because what you're going to internalize is what you say to yourself or the messages you surround yourself with. If you, and naturally we surround ourselves with all these messages. but we can kind of counter it by self-talk and reframing it in our head the way that we are interpreting it.